Let's take a look at the privacy settings. And you can see that the privacy settings are divided into 4 categories: for the profile, search settings, newsfeed and wall, and for applications. All of these settings are important to Facebook users, and you have a great degree of control over how the information that's on Facebook about you, how it's shown to other Facebook users, and how applications on Facebook can see it. All of this is under your control to a very, very great degree of customization. So let's take a look at how that works, because you as a Facebook user should be updating your privacy settings so they reflect what you want. In addition, what you should be doing is, as a Facebook application developer, being aware of the information that you can get to and may not be able to get to for an individual user. Because, as you will see later on, you get to Facebook information through the Facebook API, the Application Programming Interface. The API, when you as an application developer request certain information, that API applies the user's privacy settings. So you may not see the information. The call will not fail, but you will only get information back that you are allowed to see. Now, connected to that concept is a very important rule in the terms of service for application developers. You must not store Facebook data in your own application. If your application has a data store of its own or a database that it uses, you cannot take information out of Facebook and store it there. The only thing that is storable is a user ID number. And that has to be storable, because if someone uses your application and wants to set up a preference or something like that, you need to know who that Facebook user is. User number 12345. But that's all you can store. Any other information your application will need to retrieve from Facebook when it needs it. So you can know that user 12345 is a user of your application and has set preferences or whatever. Obviously, you can store the preferences for user 12345 because they are needed by your application and the user has entered them into your application. But anything else, any Facebook data for that user, has to be retrieved each time you need it. This is a very, very important rule on Facebook. So because you are always going through the API in order to get the data, and because you are not able to store that data, if someone changes their privacy settings between the first time you've accessed that data and the next time you want it, maybe a week later, if the privacy settings have changed, you may not be able to get to that data anymore, which is correct. If you were able to store that Facebook data in your own database or your data store, then having seen it once and stored it, you would be able to get to it after a user has changed privacy settings. And that's one of the main reasons you can't do that. You also, very, very important, you cannot store lists of friends. They come from Facebook. And it's really the same reason. Because if someone adds friends or removes a link to a friend, you should not be having old data. You must have the most recent data, which means the only thing you can do is ask Facebook for a certain type of data about a certain user who has interacted with you. And all you're storing is the user ID. And of course, also, you can store, and you have to store, preferences and other data that the user has typed into your application, because Facebook isn't going to store that data. So the Facebook data you read, and you can only access via Facebook ID.